As a bookkeeper, you might be in charge of sending and receiving confidential information. So how do you do this securely? So I'm going to start out answering the question that you probably clicked on this video to hear, which is what's a good program to use to store all that info? And then I'll also be talking about what types of confidential information you get, what I think about email security. So I went to my favorite bookkeeper Facebook group and I saw what people recommended on there. And there were kind of top 3 that kept coming up. I'll talk about Google Drive and Dropbox in just a second. But Sync, Smartvault, and Sharefile were probably the top 3 that were mentioned. And so I did just go onto their website and to check out the pricing for you guys. Sync is the cheapest. Here's a screenshot of how much it costs right now. Here's a screenshot from Smartvault. This is the mid-priced one. And this is also the one that my personal accountant uses. So that's where I upload all my tax documents for him. So I'm pretty familiar with this and it's really easy to use. And then Sharefile was another one that was mentioned. And here is the price list for that. So I don't really consider myself an expert on this kind of technology and security and encryption and all that. I'm trying to learn it as well as I can, and I did research to help you guys out in this video. But I do definitely want you to do your own research on these things and make sure you feel comfortable with whatever you choose. And so in this list, definitely Google Drive and Dropbox come up. For some reason in my mind, those don't seem as secure to me. I'm not sure, again, the technical security for all of these things. Let me know in the comments if you know that Google Drive or Dropbox are a good secure way to send files. I know one complaint about Google Drive is that you have to have a Google email address, which I don't really see that big of a deal because for any of these, for Smartvault, you need to make an account also. So it's kind of like making an account. But I personally love Google Drive and I do use it for a lot of stuff. I looked up some information about Dropbox and it does say they encrypt everything. So according to my notes, Dropbox says it has multiple layers of protection. The files are encrypted using a 256-bit advanced encryption standard. So there is a level of security in there. And then the other program I just wanted to mention really quick is called Liscio. And I went to a sales pitch about Liscio one time, and this might be a good fit for you if you're a little farther in your business. I think I just looked it up and it costs $50 a month. But this is kind of like an all-in-one platform that your clients can use. So it has a lot more than just that document storage. It's designed to house all the communication for you in between you and your clients, as well as store documents and passwords and things like that. And one of the good things they mentioned was it's all in one place and you can go back and look at things really easily. So if there's some kind of miscommunication, you can be like, oh, I did ask you to send that file on this date, and you can kind of circle back in that way. All right, let's talk about what is this confidential information? What types of documents and things are you going to come across as a bookkeeper? But before we talk about that, I'd love it if you give this video a thumbs up, and if you want more bookkeeper videos, subscribe to my channel. My name is Morgan and my website's FinePoints.biz. All right, so one of the most confidential things that comes to mind are social security numbers. So these are found on a lot of tax documents. So if you're collecting W-9s from clients or from your clients' vendors, then that usually has a social security number or an EIN, like a business number on it. Same with 1099s. If you want more info about the process for W-9s and 1099s and all that, I have a video that I just came out with. The thumbnail looks like that. You can watch it after this and I'll link it in the description box. And of course, you also want to be careful with driver's license numbers, passport numbers, bank account numbers, credit and debit card numbers, confidential health information. So I worked for a doctor's office once and we had to be really careful to comply with HIPAA standards. So a lot of the information had to be double locked up. So it had to be in a locked file cabinet in a locked office. And QuickBooks is not HIPAA compliant, so you cannot keep any patient information within QuickBooks. Passwords and bank logins I'm going to talk about next. And then bank statements are a little tricky because I find that they don't always have super confidential information on them. They just have the last 4 digits usually of the account number. So maybe use your own judgment on that and chat with your client about what they're comfortable with. If they need to throw their bank statements in a Google Drive or if they need to email them to you really quick, you can check on their comfort level. And a note about bank statements, a lot of banks now just upload their statements directly to QuickBooks Online, which is really nice because it's already there waiting for you and you don't even have to worry about getting it from your client. Same with financial reports. I'm fine just emailing a profit and loss or a balance sheet directly from QuickBooks to the client's email address. So that is a good intro to email. So let's talk a little bit more about email. How secure is email? The general consensus is that email is not a secure way to send very confidential information. So I do not email social security numbers or anything like that. And I looked up Gmail specifically and what they say about their security. So if you want to hear the fine print, It says Gmail is encrypted with a TLS, which is a transport layer security, and they say they have 128-bit security encryption. So it sounds like this is kind of like an industry standard security, and they are taking measures to a certain degree to protect your email when it's going from you to your client. There is a way in Gmail to send like a confidential email that has a time limit and a password. So I have a link with the tutorial for that I'll leave in the description. There's like a little lock with a time, like with a clock on it. So you click that and then you can set up that. Again, let me know in the comments if you have more info about this or this is your specialty and what you would recommend about Gmail. All right, let's talk about your computer. How do you keep that secure? Should you work at a coffee shop with an open Wi-Fi network? The answer is no, you should not. Apparently, it is fairly easy for people to hack into those networks if they are on there too and see what you're working on your computer. What you can get is a VPN. So it is, I think it's like a little piece of hardware that you plug into your computer and it makes like your own network so that you're not on like a public network that's open to different people. I have a related video you can watch after this. It is called How to Protect and Secure Your Business. The thumbnail looks like that. It'll be linked in the description box too. So sending contracts should also be fairly secure because it is a legally binding document between two parties with a signature. When I send contracts to my clients, like a contract of employment, I have been using HelloSign. I have a video right here where I talk more about that. DocuSign and Honeybook are other ones I've heard of for that. And then what about passwords? I was shocked as a bookkeeper how many passwords I have to manage because often your client, for each client, there's like usually like 5 different things you're gonna have to log into. And it kind of varies by client. Like sometimes they have like an invoicing system that I need to go check, or just inevitably there are things. So I've been using LastPass as a password manager, and I just make like a folder for each client and it has everything in there. Other popular ones are Keeper, Nord, and 1Password. And of course, you know the password rules you're supposed to do. You're not supposed to do the same password for things. They're supposed to be long. And I know a lot of these password apps can actually create a really complex password for you. So that is a great feature to use as well. So if you're interested, I'm gonna read you a little bit of jargon about security. And this is something I found online that I thought was interesting, as interesting as this stuff can be. So FTP is kind of the basic, the standard. That's, I think, what Gmail was using. And so like a step above that, there's 3 different kinds, and I'm going to give you all their acronyms. So there's FTPS, AS2, and SFTP. So I guess if you're reading like the fine print in one of these things, like maybe you decide you want to use Smartvault, and it says it uses one of the higher level securities, that would be a good thing. And then you're probably familiar with the 2-step authentication. Like if your bank needs to send you a code or something, it says that is also a sign of good security. All right, and one more acronym. So it says the secure file transfer method, HTTPS, is best for sending banking info and super confidential information. So hopefully you can come away with a few really applicable, practical tips that you can change in your business, maybe a new program you can start using, or just a reminder to make those strong passwords. Let me know in the comments what programs you have found useful. And again, a thumbs up super helpful for me. And I will be talking to you next week with a new bookkeeper video. All right, talk to you next week.